A Brighter Sun, Chapter 3. Mango season came. In the northern range, the trees were in full fruit, and school children on holiday roamed the hills all day long, stealing in the gardens, hurling stones as though they couldn't reach, eating the green ones with pepper and salt. The markets were glutted with fruit: mango ve, mango cutlass, mango dudus, mango leatherskin, mango bread, mango turpentine, mango cheese. The children even sang, "Mango long is to make it strong, mango rose is to lift up she clothes." One Saturday morning, Henry looked at the rose mango tree in Tiger's yard. Ripe ones had fallen on the ground, but he didn't want those. He wanted fresh ones. He thought of climbing the tree silently and stealing a few, but the risk was too great. Either Rita or Miss Tiger was sure to see him. "Good morning, Miss Tiger." "Who is that? Henry? What you want, boy?" "Miss Tiger, please thanks for some mango. Ma say please to give she some." "How you going pick them? The rod too heavy for you." She looked at the long bamboo rod Tiger had brought home from the bush. "Oh, I could climb," he said quickly, and without waiting for an answer, he clambered up and perched himself between a fork and began to eat, dropping the skin on the roof of the hut. "Throw down some green ones for me," Ermila called, shading her eyes with her hands from the glare of the sun as she looked up. "I think I go begin to make a car and sell." The rose mangoes grew red, juicy, and the tree was laden. Ermila too had grown stronger. Her cheeks were rosy, her breasts high and pointed. All these things Tiger noted with satisfaction. "I hope it's a boy child," he prayed in the night, in Tallboy's shop, in the field as he bent his back to the soil. He would have threatened Ermila and commanded her to bear a boy, but Joe Martin had told him that wouldn't help. "What is to is must is," Joe said. But Ermila felt it was her bounden duty to bring forth a boy. Night and day she prayed, "Oh God, please help me to please Tiger. Put a boy child in my belly." One day, when a high wind was dropping mangoes in the yard, she felt a movement in her stomach, and she told Rita. Rita consulted an almanac and nodded her head. "If things go right, should be sometime this week," she said. Tiger was growing impatient. Every night he asked her, "What about this boy child? When it come in?" And Ermila said, "You can't force nature, Tiger. Same way with your cabbage and melangine, same way with me." The next week, for the first time, Rita went into the hut to look around. She burst into instant abuse. "Is all that man expect you to have your baby on the floor? It's a damn shame. All you ain't have a bed?" "Not yet, man. Later we're going to buy one though." Rita went back without answering and dismounted the bed on which she and Joe slept. Piece by piece she brought it over, cursing Tiger. She mounted the bed in the corner of the hut. "Stop doing yard work," she ordered. "You must lay down on this bed and don't let that damn Tiger sleep on it. Put him on the floor near to you. And if you're feeling any pains, call me. I go deliver that baby for you, girl. Don't afraid." "But man, Rita, what Joe go say when he come home and ain't see the bed? Suppose he beat you. You not afraid?" "You don't worry with that now. It's my one just as much as he when it come to that." "You're too good. I don't know what to tell you." Joe Martin came home and said, "What the hell happened to the bed?" "Keep your big mouth shut. Your neighbor have it. She going to have a baby." "So what the arse that have to do with that? Them Indian people does have plenty money hide way. Why Tiger don't buy a bed for his wife?" "It ain't have time for that. Suppose she make the baby tonight. It's true things ain't so rosy with we these days, but still. And two besides, shame on you. You grudging poor people your bed. Is your neighbor. How much time you ain't get things from them for nothing? To arse with all of that. This is damn slackness. And who is you? You playing midwife? Suppose something go wrong. Who the arse tell you to interfere in the coolie people business? Tiger said, we can't allow this thing to happen. But he was afraid to carry back the bed. Suppose the baby came in the night. He felt he had failed in not getting a bed already. But both of them were accustomed to sleeping on bags on the floor. He didn't know what to do. Ermila sat on the bed. Boy, it have spring. Feel how soft it is. You ever sleep on a bed before? My father and mother had one, but I used to sleep on the floor. But they're really good to we. And look how there's Creole and we's Indian. But Tiger, suppose it's not boy child. It better be boy child. I'm warning you. But Tiger man, I can't help if God put a girl. Well, he better put a boy, you hear? Girl child good too, you know. Don't mind what people say. I used to cut cane just as good as my brother and them. I'm telling you, I don't want a girl child. Two besides, you're talking too much. You should sleep and take plenty rest. But nothing happened that night, though he sat up and looked at her for a long time until he fell asleep with his head resting against the bed. The next night it happened. He rushed over to Joe's house and pounded the door. Rita! Joe! Come quick! The thing happening! Rita came out with her slippers flying and a dress halfway on. I want plenty hot water! She snapped at Tiger and ran into the hut. Tiger put the water on the fire with shaky hands. Joe came up and stood watching. Well, you're not even offering me a drink? No rum not in the house, man, he said, bending down and blowing the fire, and again he felt ashamed. He should have had rum in the house. So what happened? It too late to go wake up tall boy? Ain't you open account with him? I could tell me said to send a bottle. The shop ain't far from here. You should have a bottle to celebrate, man. Well, go then. Just tell him I send you, and he will give you. Tiger pushed more wood in the fire and kept lifting the lid off the pot, as if he expected the water to be boiling in a minute. By the time Joe returned, it was boiling, and Tiger poured it into a basin and carried it inside, tiptoeing. Put it down and get the hell out, Rita called over her shoulder. He went out sheepishly. He couldn't show her he was a man when he didn't know what it was all about. He sat down on the back steps with Joe and took a drink. He said, Joe, you was there when Rita's sister was having Henry? What happened? Oh, nothing at all. It ain't have nothing in that. People does have baby every day. The time when Rita's sister did having Henry, I and the father was chopping liquor for so. We drink 2 bottles and we play cards until 2 o'clock in the morning. I feel as if I shouldn't drink. This is a big thing for me, Joe. A sharp cry came from the hut, and Tiger sprang to his feet. Joe laughed. Don't get excited. You ain't hear nothing yet. Have a drink and cool down. Tiger drank a tall one and felt better. I sorry we have to borrow the bed, Joe. As soon as I get fixed up, I'm going to buy one. You better buy a crib instead, or a hammock for the baby. So what you doing? You going to have big christening party, plenty food and drink, big Indian fete? I know how all you Indian people like all your roti and rum, you know. I ain't decide nothing yet, man. Pundit have to give him name under what star he born. What about the family down Chaguanas? You ain't sending message to tell them? Well, look at that. I nearly forget about that. Yes, Joe, you could write? Joe shook his head. I could live without writing, he said. You mean big man like you can't write? What happened for that? You talking, you could write? No, but I mean, I smaller than you. And 2 besides, you come from Port of Spain and I from the country. But he was glad Joe couldn't write because Joe was a man. They have plenty people who can't write, Joe said, and they living happy. Well, I know what I go do. We go have to go down San Juan to see the pundit. When he give me name for the boy, I go ask him to write my family and tell them. It was about 10 o'clock. A wind blew and shook the mango tree. A fruit fell with a thud in the yard. Joe took it up and washed it with a calabash of water from the barrel. He sucked the mango. A half moon softened the darkness. Raiders had gone off one by one until it was very quiet, except for the occasional barking of dogs. What you thinking about? Come fire drink, man. I just studying about when the boy child come. Well, sit down quiet now. Keep your tail quiet. It ain't have long again. Rita always putting herself in other people's business. Rita came out wiping her hands in a towel. Everything all right. Your wife have strength. She more able than I did think. Where the baby? Tiger asked, shaking all over as if he had egg. It inside now, but wait a little bit. I ain't finished with Ermila yet. Is a pretty boy? He resemble me? Oh, they'll tell you is a boy. That is all you Indian people want. Boy child, as if woman is a sin. Well, is a girl if you want to know. Tiger left them and walked off into the night, his head reeling. So many things exploded like a sandbox seed in his mind, shocking him, pitching him about because he did not know. He felt robbed. Maybe there was something he could have done to make sure a boy would have been born. Maybe there was some medicine Ermila could have taken that Rita didn't know anything about. Or maybe he hadn't prayed hard enough. He remembered the time when a white minister used to come from San Fernando and preach in Chaguanas. Once his mother had asked the minister, "If I want something plenty and I ask God, he would give me?" The minister replied, "Ask and it will be given unto you." Tiger didn't know what it was his mother wanted, but she never got it. She went back to the man and said, "Sahib, I pray hard, but nothing come." And the minister said, "God knows best. Perhaps it is better that way." Now he thought, what was the use of praying if God already knew what to do? He walked across the land and sat down on a bank overlooking his garden. When he was in Chaguanas, he was never worried by his thoughts. Was worry one of the signs of a man? And all the incidents since his marriage came like giant hands out of the night to hold him down. The sudden movement from boyhood to manhood, his hut, his acquiring the land to plant a garden, the nights with Ermila, days turning the soil, the baby just born. The hands clutched at his throat. He wanted to cry out in terror and run until he couldn't run again. He threw himself down on the ground and his fingers clutched tufts of grass and pulled them out. He shut his eyes tightly. Night came into his head, and then it seemed as if the hands were relaxing their hold on him. The grip on his heart slackened. Waves rocked him gently. Suddenly, he was aware of being all alone in the bush. Even night insects were still, and the trees were motionless. He backed away on the grass and shut his eyes again. Suddenly, he sprang up. He was not alone. He had a wife. He had a child. He put the picture of them in the front of his mind to ward off all the things he didn't know, which came to choke him from the dark. He said aloud, "I not alone. I have a wife. I'm a child. Don't mind it not boy child. I is a man." And a man should be home with his wife and child. Perhaps something had happened to Ermila. Perhaps she had died while he was walking in the bush. With a cry like a wounded deer, he darted through the bush. Tiger never completely reconciled himself to the fact that the child was a girl, even after the pundit in San Juan said it would be lucky. "Call she Chandra," the pundit instructed, consulting a book. He promised to write to Chaguanas. Tiger wasn't going to hold any feast to celebrate. When their relatives came, they didn't bring any expensive gifts, just a few toys that had no lasting value. One was a miniature piano, and Ermila was fascinated with it. When she was a child, she never had any toys. She struck the notes and her eyes grew bright. Tiger's Bap seemed to take it that the marriage had turned him into a man right away. He adopted a man-to-man attitude with Tiger, and Tiger tried to keep up with him. His father asked, "How everything going? You get land to buy? Have garden? Good crop?" It was just like the wedding ceremony, only not as exciting. Maybe because he was getting to be a man. 6 of them came, crowding into the hut and laughing and talking, and everyone said how the baby resembled Tiger. The woman whispered in the corner to Ermila, and she blushed and laughed. She held the baby proudly in her arms, and Tiger thought that she was learning to be a woman too. He wanted to offer his father a drink, but it was a struggle between his desire to show he was growing up and the fear of being rebuked. But he thought that the baby was born and they should have a drink or two. He said half boldly, "Bap, I could get you rum in the shop. I have a count there now, you know. You'd care to have a little drink?" The old man said, "Well, you should have 'em here already. After all, you is man now, boy, and you must have 'em drink in the house when friend come." Tiger thought, to my wife, I man when I sleep with she. To Bap, I man if I drink rum. But to me, I no man yet. He met Joe in the shop, and Joe said, "Ah, Tiger, I ain't see you to talk to since the night you're out of when the baby born. Come and fire one man." They had one, and Tiger invited Joe to meet his parents. Joe said, "What you have? Curry chicken? Roti? Plenty rum?" "It's just a little thing, man," Tiger said. "Nothing much. The family come and we having a few drinks. Come and go, man. You is my neighbor. I don't like this business with coolie people now. Is a freeness a come will come." After the first drink in the hut, Bap said, "Joe, I hear how you help 'em better with baby come. It's a good thing." It was only the rum that kept Joe in the hut. He shrugged his shoulders. "Me ain't do nothing. It's the wife who help out. We is neighbors, you see." He felt uncomfortable, but Tiger didn't notice. The rum was making him giddy. He felt twice his size. He looked out the window and called out, "Rita, come over, neighbor, and meet with family, and bring some more glass." The elders frowned, and Ermila's mother pulled her sari over her head in a significant movement. Rita brought Henry with her. There was no formal introduction. She just waved her hand at them and gave Joe a nasty look out of habit. "Is how me do the child keeping, eh?" She took Chandra up and rocked her. "So, Tiger by Amak Fashi?" While she spoke, everyone listened and watched. An atmosphere of strain kept in. Only Tiger and Ermila seemed at ease. "Yes, we buy it when we went to San Juan," Ermila said. "She growing nice. You don't think so, Rita?" It's true. It's the fresh cow milk you does have she drinking in the morning." She put the child back in the hammock and surveyed the room, confident of herself. She called for a drink. "Everybody must have a drink together," she ordered. Henry moved quietly to the hammock, and when he was near enough to put out his forefinger and touch the baby's cheek lightly, Ermila's mother pinched him viciously on the arm. Henry began to cry. Rita did not see what happened. She drove him out. "Up to now you can't behave yourself in people's house," she snapped. The boy went under the house and cried bitterly. Tiger filled the glasses quickly, and Rita passed them around. There was no refusing her. She forced the glasses into their hands. She poured most of Ermila's drink in her own and said like a mother, "You're not strong enough yet." Ermila smiled, and her mother pulled the sari on her head again. Tiger said, "But Rita, I think she should have a drink, man." Rita told him to keep his damn mouth shut, that she knew better than him. She turned to Joe. "Make a toast. she commanded. Joe looked at her as if he wanted to kick her right there in front of everybody, but he said something about long life and health and swallowed his drink quickly. Tiger saw a chance to prove he was getting to be a man. He said, "I is the man of the house, and I have to answer Joe toast." Ermila moved with a sixth sense and filled the glasses again. Tiger looked at her and smiled, and she knew she had done the right thing. But when he began to talk, he found it wasn't going to be as easy as he thought, even with the rum in his head. "Well," he began waveringly, we glad to have family and friends here today, especially as the baby born. It's true we're not rich, and we have only a small thing here, but still, it's a good thing. So let we make a little merry for the baby. I should really begin different. I don't know what happened to me. I should say, ladies and gentlemen, and then make speech, but I cannot speech if I very good. I would learn though." That was as far as he could go. He felt he would talk foolishness if he continued, and he gulped his drink. He wanted everyone to make a speech, but all the elders shook their heads, and it became awkward, just standing and looking at one another as if something had gone wrong. Rita suddenly sniffed and cried out, "Oh God, oh, I forgot the pot on the fire!" She ran out, and Joe said, "Well, one for the road, a peeling off now." And after the drink he waved his hand and departed. Immediately a babble of voices broke out in the hut. "Is only nigger friend you making since you come?" his bab asked. "Plenty Indian live on this side. It's true them is good neighbor, but you must look for Indian friend like you and your wife. Indian must keep together." "Is I who pinch him, that is why he cry," Ermila's mother said. "Nigger boy put he black and on my better baby face. He too fast, man. But man, those people good to us, we his friends. I does get little things from she, and sometimes she does borrow little things from me. There's not bad people." Tiger said, "If I wasn't for them, we would know what to do." "What your bab says is the right thing though," his uncle said. "Nigger people are right, but you must let Creole keep the distance. You're too young to know about these things, but I older than you. All you better make Indian friend." Ermila took the baby away with clean flour bag sheets and stood rocking the hammock after they had gone. Tiger touched the baby's cheek. He took up the piano and played some notes. The baby took no notice, but Ermila was delighted. "Play more, Tiger," she whispered. "I like to hear it." He thought more meant louder, and he struck the notes harder. "Shh! The baby must get plenty sleep," she said softly. Her Mai had given her much advice on how to keep the child. Shades of responsibility moved in her mind. From the time the baby had come, a new power had swept through her like wind. She marveled in it, moved her tongue in her mouth to see if she could taste the sweetness flowing through her. She moved her hands over her body and through her hair, and when she felt the baby at her side, she had a thought. I is woman now, and the thought had made her fearful and joyful all at the same time. Tiger sat on the step and watched night coming. The big thought he had postponed came back. It had happened when his parents talked about Joe and Rita. At the time, rum was in his head, but now it was all clear. Why I should only look for Indian friend? What wrong with Joe and Rita? It's true, I used to play with Indian friends in the estate, but that isn't any reason why I must shut my heart to other people. Ain't I a man? Isn't a man a man? Don't mind if the skin black or white, or if his hair is curl. He thought how burned cane trash went spinning in the wind helplessly. He and Ermila would have been like that if Joe and Rita hadn't helped. He found the decision difficult. He was even angry with himself. And he thought that if he was so stupid, how would he explain things to his children when they grew up and asked questions? Ermila came and sat down beside him. She too watched the dark and the stars in the sky. She guessed what her husband was thinking, and she would have liked to talk it over with him, but she knew that Indian women just kept the house and saw after the children and didn't worry their men. But she wanted it to be different with them, that they could talk and laugh together and share worries. Would Tiger stop her from talking to Rita? If he did, she would have to obey. It would be lonely with no one to share gossip. It was as if he drew power from the darkness, as if in the struggle itself there was understanding and truth, if he could only find them. He pulled Ermila's hand to him. The girl was glad. She held on tightly. He thought, this must be growing up. I must really be becoming a man now. End of chapter 3.